Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 299 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by KC.
No?
How's things, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Managed to get done at work a decent time, so we've got time to squeeze in this podcast before all the work starts again tomorrow.
Yay.
Speaking of, do you reckon that Leeds made relatively comfortable work of that yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was a strange one because I don't think we played that well, but they fashioned no chances.
No clear-cut chances, I think, is probably fairer.
No, none, Jack. No chances whatsoever. I mean, yeah, there was obviously Melier makes a low save for a shot from 25 yards, and there's a couple of corner scares.
Yeah, probably the scariest bit of the entire game was not long before Leeds' second goal. They put a corner in that gets flicked on at the near post and goes right across the face. And that looked very dangerous. Yeah. And, of course, in the first half, Melier comes for a corner and gets absolutely nowhere near it. And it falls to, I don't even know who had the shot because it wasn't in the brief highlights, but I think it was Tanaka made an excellent block. That actually, if they did have a clear-cut chance, that was it.
Yeah. But for the most part, it was a weird one because coming away from the game, on Radio Leeds, the talk was that it was a quite entertaining game. I don't know if I came away with that impression of it. I found it to be Sheffield Wednesday didn't sit as deep as most teams have done that have played against us, but they didn't really connect a lot in the final third. And I thought we, especially playing out of our own half, were quite sloppy at times in possession. But I suppose the few times we gave away possession, there's quite a few passes out of defence that went to them, and then we just recovered and made the challenge.
Yeah.
So it never led to a shot, never led to a real goal scoring opportunity apart from, I think there's the Ampadu last ditch sliding tackle
that was an excellent tackle. But I was about ready to go spare it and that because leaving someone unmarked in that sort of position is really bad. But he was dead centre of the pitch and just left completely alone. You said in the ground that it was a bit Scott Parker for Ampadu, and that it is an excellent tackle that he goes flying into. But if everyone's in their position, you probably don't ever need to make that tackle in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on the whole, defensively, I thought Ampadu and Roden were absolutely fine. Like I say, I just think the distribution probably was not as good as it has been. And I think we probably had a few issues, especially sort of from about 25 minutes onwards. We never really got Solomon into the game, and there was odd moments where he'd get on the ball, and all of a sudden we were getting up the pitch, and we were, sort of causing them problems, but we weren't doing that as much as we probably should have been.
Yeah, I thought watching the game after the early goal, I do still think that the main reason for that was having Byram at left back. Whereas Bogle and James have got a really good understanding on that right side. And although Byram was absolutely fine, defensively was solid and was tidy enough, his passing's a bit negative from that position. He didn't push forward as much. Although he did get a couple of good crosses in the first half. But I just think we naturally, if it's Byram left back and Bogle right back, we naturally build up on the right. We have even more of the right side bias than we have done recently. Whereas I think if you had Firpo, that would balance out. Like last season, it was all left side, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. How do we get this to Somerville?
Yeah, and it seemed to be a bit the opposite of this. But no, we did talk about how comfortable it was early, so we didn't talk about it. But the first goal, which was, I don't know how early, but it felt very early. 3 minutes, yeah, it was very early. Joe Rothwell plays a good ball sort of through everyone. Brendan Aronson makes an excellent run. And Beadle comes off his line. And in the ground, it looked like he'd really had to go and smother, and it'd come out to Solomon. But having watched it back, he should take that ball. It's bad goalkeeping. Just pushes it straight out to Solomon. Sheffield Wednesday have got 2 defenders on the line, but Solomon doesn't panic at all. Just takes his time. There's a couple of yards of gap between them, and he just smashes it straight down the middle. It's an easy finish, one that you should take, but he finished it well.
Yeah, it was nice to see a bit of composure in that situation, because I think it would be very easy to, especially once he's taken the touch and has a moment to think about it, it would be very easy to think, do I put this in the corner? Do I smash it down the middle and end up hitting a defender somehow? But yeah, he just leathers it in between the 2 defenders and doesn't give them the chance.
Yeah, and for the rest of the half, like, Leeds were the better side, but I didn't think... I agree with you. In the ground, it didn't feel like much of a game. But I have seen a few people saying that it was a bit more exciting, and that the thing that they thought made it a bit more exciting was that little bit of sloppiness. Because you'd get a couple more chances to break, rather than us just having the ball and sort of passing them to death. Which I think is probably fair enough, but I also think that there was a decent amount of it that is just... the Leeds fan nerves that we have, but we probably didn't start enjoying this until the 89th minute.
Yeah, like I say, I think it is a bit of a strange one in that regard, and because the first thing I did after that, I phoned my mum after the game, and she watched it and was like, was quite excited about the game, and said it'd been a good game, and I was like, kind of in our area, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was negative, but I wouldn't say we were thrilled about how the game had gone up until the second one goes in.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say the fan base got a bit negative in the sort of 75-minute mark. There started to be some real frustration on show.
Yeah, I think you had certain moments where I think you get like the Aronson moment where he goes into the box, get your shot away. No, he takes a touch. All right, get the cross in. He doesn't get the cross in. And then he turns and then I don't even remember what happens after the turn. I assume he falls over and we lose possession.
I think he had the cross blocked or something.
Yeah, he probably
took way too long.
But yeah, and you could just put the cross in. Just do something that we had it. And there's the breakaway with him as well, where we're on the counter attack, and I think it's like 4v3 in our favour, and you just slide the pass through, and again we don't do it. And you just like, if we do these things, I'm not pinning all of this on Aronson. Those are just kind of the 2 situations I can think of. And there's one in the first half as well where he should have slid Dan James to. It's not about Brendan Aronson, isn't my point.
Quite fancy Brendan, mate.
Yeah, the more and more I talk myself into it. But there were situations where we should have ended up getting a shot away, and we didn't. And the problem is with how we've been this season is that, again, we know at this rate it only really takes one half decent chance for a team to get a goal against us. And whenever you're only 1-0 against a team who isn't that good, and we said on was it Thursday we recorded? I can't even remember now. Whatever day we did the Friday.
Yeah, one of Thursday or Friday.
Friday. Looking at that team and trying to figure out how they're 10th. Nothing in that game killed that thought for me. I still came away thinking, I don't know how they're 10th.
No, they looked well organised. You can tell Danny Will's a pretty decent coach from the way that they were set up and they knew what they were doing. But I did think that the choice of team was a bit weird. Like, not picking an out-and-out striker and going with Windass up top. Like, the fear with Windass is that, like, maybe he'll beat a player or strike one from range. and he never got a chance to do that because he was just not. I mean, he just wasn't in the game, was he? Oh,
no, honestly, you could have gone large periods of that game not knowing he was there, and not. But I don't think any of that was on him. The service to him wasn't there. And I think they had a few moments as well where they did start to come, where they were coming forward in possession, and it was just like some badly overhit passes, and that ball where they go to switch play and it just smashes it out of play and it ends up going for a throw in by the corner flag.
Yeah, because that was a decent. They had men over, didn't they, on that far side? If they'd got near side towards in the ground, but far side from the pass.
Yeah, they had a few opportunities like that and really lacked a bit of end product in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll let this one go because
we won 3-0 and we're top of the league and we should cheer the fuck up.
Like, it's all fine. Like, in theory, it's all fine. Well, but yeah, if you follow this up with a decent result on Wednesday, it's another good run of home games, back-to-back wins if you can get that. And there were positive elements here. I think seeing Largy come back in, and this is kind of his first big contribution since his injury.
He still didn't get that long, but he got like 14 minutes, which is a lot more. I mean, the subs were like it was basically the similar. Leeds in control of the game, but without really breaking through. 70 minutes, you got Joseph for Peru and Gruev for Rothwell. And then 83 switched the wingers, Ramazani for Solomon and Nonto for James. And then very late on, Brendan Aronson, who Farke did say after the match had actually been carrying an ox since the first half. But in stoppage time, Giavogi came on for Aronson. Do you think that any of those subs, other than, obviously we'll talk about Ramazani in a sec, I thought that Joseph and Peru, I didn't think, obviously Joseph was busier as he often is, but I didn't think there was much between them. I didn't really notice any difference with Gruev versus Rothwell particularly, but Ramazani is just that bit more direct, isn't he? And I really like that.
I think you said in the ground, someone who's just willing to get out of his feet and get a shot in fairly early, and it is pretty much what led to those, the second and third goals. It is nice to have that sort of quality out wide. So Solomon is. I think more and more from what you've said as a man who doesn't seem to know whether he's actually right-footed or not.
Oh no, it's not just me. It wasn't an original thought. Other people have said it too. Other people say he is left-footed. He just doesn't realise it yet.
Yeah, I think Ramazani, and I think a big part of this is down to his pace. Is that, like you say, there is that touch less of stopping, slowing down, that sharp change of direction. It is a lot more. I'm going to get it out my feet. I'm take it in my stride here, and we'll go from there. I'll say a more controlled Dan James version of being a winger than the Nonto Solomon version.
Yeah. Well, for the goal, the ball comes to him inside in box. He's on the edge of box with his back to goal. He looks for a second as if he's lost it, but he just sort of works his way back in, and it's just one touch out onto his left foot and strike it across the goal. It's a really good finish, and you could hear it in the ground. Like, there was the initial celebration of the goal, and then you almost heard a collective sigh of relief as soon as we got the second. It was like just enough to calm everything down. And then for the third, in the 96th minute, corner comes in. Mateo Joseph, having seen it back, seems to deliberately do a cushioned header out to Largy Ramazani on the edge of the box, which is an odd choice, but it was quite cool. Ramazani hits it on the volley, and what in the ground looked like it sort of just hit Tanaka from where we were. It's an excellent finish, and it's completely deliberate. Just a little backheel flick with his left foot sends Beadle the wrong way. Nice to see Tanaka get one at Elland Road.
Yeah, like you say, tough to tell what had happened from where we were. but yeah, when you watch it back, it's just really nicely dealt with because it's coming at him with some speed on it as well, so he reacts to it really well. And yeah, it really nice. And all of a sudden, you're leaving Elland Road in a really good mood with Blitzkrieg Bot playing, which was a fantastic choice to finish the game.
Yeah, that was a good shout, and it must have been a late decision because that goal came late.
Yeah.
Big
Lee's on the radio going, lads, I've had a thought. Yeah, I will say as well for their goalkeeper, I didn't think a right lot to him. His kicking was very Casper Ankergren. Like it was going to one side or another, and there was every chance it was going for a throw-in.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, and kind of coming back to their first goal as well, like probably should have done better with that. The other two, he's got no chance with, to be fair.
Yeah. I've just flicked through, and that first goal has gone down like in the stats as an error leading to a goal from Beadle. But I thought, was there anyone in particular that properly, other than obviously Ramazani off the bench gets a goal and an assist in 15 minutes, which does stand out. But even though he had some sloppy moments, I think probably that late goal just about makes Tanaka man at match. But I think that it was another game with a lot of 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think Dan James is probably in with a shout because I think a lot went through him.
On that subject, Bogle was pretty good again as well.
Yeah, fantastic yellow card he picked up as well. Just decided he was going to absolutely hoof his man up in the air for he was just the other side of him and thought, you know what, I'm sick of you.
And to be honest, I'm quite glad you mentioned that because in a win you forget to talk about it. But that was one of the very few decisions that the referee got correct.
Oh God,
Bogle's booking for the very much yellow card tackle. That guy was fucking useless.
Oh God, yeah. Like you say, there's the handball in the first half. I think was the first real decision I looked at where the ref doesn't give it, and somehow the linesman also doesn't give it, and the linesman is stood 10 yards away facing it, and couldn't flag a decision there for whatever reason. And then we had that period where he just didn't want to give us anything, which led to the built-up way when he finally pulled a yellow card out. But his decisions, it was the odd mix of I'm going to let the game flow, but also when there is a free kick, you are going to take it from the exact blade of grass I want it to be taken from.
Yeah.
It was such an odd combination. Like you had that one where we tried to play a free kick out from the centre of goal and tried to take it twice. And twice it was sent back and seemingly, if I remember rightly, I think it was Ampadu taking it. And he barely moved each time.
Yeah, I think, to be generous, the first one, the ball might have been moving. So, but the second one, where he pulled it back again, was just being a twat. Like, there's no way around it. He was just being an ass. But yeah, I mean, it's very rare that you get the crowd turn on you that much in a game where the home team's winning. But he just had no... he had no idea what he was doing and just seemed to lose all control of the game. But it's a win. I've just checked to see. It didn't say which spot, but he's from Lancashire, so I'm just going to assume he's a scummer.
You bastard.
Yeah, and then just call it there. But yeah, that is a very solid win. Leeds top of the league by 1 point from Sheffield United. 3 points ahead of Burnley, 5 ahead of Sunderland, and then 14 to Blackburn because the top 4 have pulled away now. But the one thing that's nice to see is we've got 10 goals on Burnley and 11 on Sheffield United.
Yeah. It's so weird at this point because I don't think a lot of Leeds fans are massively positive for where we are and how well we're doing in terms of, we're in the position we should be. And I know being top at this point isn't the be all and end all. I think once you kind of get into March, that's when you're looking at, right, where are we, and how far away are we from those around us? But we've been doing pretty well recently of winning, putting together a good run of results. And yeah, it was disappointing that we dropped points against Hull, but in the league, what are we now? 5 wins out of 6.
Well, we drew with Blackburn and Hull.
Sorry. So yeah, 4
So
wins.
it's like 5 out of 7 or something.
Yeah, and then I think it's quite nice for us to get that win after Sunderland and Burnley got the draw. I'm not fully at the stage yet of looking at other teams' results, but when they're playing each other, it was quite nice to see us take advantage of that a little bit.
Yeah, I was surprised at myself that I didn't watch Burnley and Sunderland, which I expected I probably would do, but I didn't bother in the end. As you've mentioned, I've just had a glance. Tuesday night, Sheffield United are away at Swansea. Sunderland are away at Derby. And then Burnley are away at Plymouth on Wednesday. So, I mean, I would be expecting straight wins for all of that. I may even back that as a treble and just hope it gets beat.
Yeah, we're still I think for me, we're still very much in the phase of just win your games. We don't need to be watching other teams.
Yeah, it's too soon.
They're all teams we've still got to play again. But it's also nice to be in this position at this point of the season.
Yeah. So yeah, that puts us in a strong position. We keep going, just to hope that we keep winning. For what it's worth, I did just check. Leeds are 1-16 to get promoted, which is a bit short. And on Wednesday night, Leeds are on to Norwich, who I haven't even seen the highlights. They got beat 2-0 at Sheffield United on Saturday. Two goals for Harrison Burrows from left back.
Huh. Yeah. One of them's a pen.
Yeah, right.
Don't even count.
But before that, losing it away at Sheffield United is nothing too bad. And before that, in the league, they'd won 3 of the last 4. Beat Millwall 2-1, drew with QPR, won 1-0 at Luton, and beat Coventry 2-1. So they've not been in bad nick.
I mean, they are a decent side. I think one of the things that's affected them the last couple of years has been some of their managerial appointments as well. Obviously, last season it didn't end well for them. I still aren't overly convinced by them defensively.
Yeah.
Just kind of based on you look at. I'm just having a look now what the team was they had out. Shane Duffy is fine.
And must be 47 years old by now.
Yeah. What have they got? They've got Callum Doyle in as well.
Yeah. Callum Doyle's a pretty decent player. Angus Gunn's a decent keeper as well. Jack Stacey at fullback, he's also quite good. Their main man this season, obviously, has been Borja Sainz, and he's banned.
Oh, that's good.
He got 6 games for spitting, didn't he? A couple of weeks ago.
God, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, so he's so that is their main man out, and that does make a bit of a difference to him. He came off the bench, so he is fit. I just noticed that Josh Sargent didn't start against Sheffield United, but I'm assuming he will be back in.
Yeah, looking at their team here, it looks like they had Onel Fernandez playing as their centre forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think this is a better team than Sheffield Wednesday's team.
On paper, that's what. Kenny McLean is definitely a decent midfielder. That Emilio Marcondes is a pretty decent player as well. Onel Hernandez, I don't know if he's still what he was. but he was always a decent player. Josh Sargent's one of the best strikers in the league. So it's not outstanding, but it looks like an all right team. I'm just looking at this, and the previews have them in a 4-2-3-1, which they may well be going to play, but they have played 4-3-3 in the last 3 league games. They also. Oh, that was it. I forgot about him. For a second, I thought they'd signed Amari Thorson, but it was that Amankwa Thorson. And I remember him now because I think he came on. He may have started, but I think he played in the game at Carroll Road. And I remember thinking, is that Amari Thorson in that game as well?
Yeah.
When I saw his name written down. And I think that he looked quite decent, if I remember right, but I don't really remember him. And Lewis Dobbin's not bad either. Yeah, like he's the one that was at Everton, wasn't
he? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Everton, and then and he went to Villa for 10 million. You know, when they had that PSR round of transfers, where like all of these 19-year-olds all moved to each other. What is it? Amari Kellyman, is that the one that went to Chelsea from Villa for like 20 million? And yeah, it was when they were doing the PSR roundabout thing. But yeah, Norwich's team looks pretty decent. They're 11th in the league now.
Yeah, and we got I'm just having a look now. 1-1 draw at their place.
I cannot remember what our goal was. Their goal was a penalty.
Yeah, Josh Sargent after 15 minutes with a penalty. And
it was that one that basically went down the middle, and Melier. I never see. It's very you can't really say should save it when it's a penalty, so I won't say go that far. But it wasn't the best effort you've ever seen.
Yeah, and then ours was Ramazani on the hour mark.
I have no recollection of that goal.
No, I don't really remember this game.
I'm pretty sure that we watched it in the pub. I don't know if you did. You may have been at work. But I'm pretty sure I watched it in the pub anyway. But no, I have no recollection of Ramazani's goal.
I probably would have watched it. It's a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
Yeah, so yeah, their team looks all right, but not amazing. What do you reckon that we'll make any changes from the team that started?
I think Ramazani is probably in contention to start this one. I would be tempted to go with James and Ramazani.
Drop Solomon to the bench.
Yeah, and there's nothing against Solomon, but again, you're playing a few games in quite close proximity to each other. We've got the depth there to do it. Given that we didn't see Firpo, I don't see him coming back for this one.
No, you do. I do have a little bit of thinks maybe that's why you didn't bring him on. It was just like, no, I'm just going to save him completely and let Byron play this one, Firpo plays next one. Because if he's fit, I'd quite like to see Firpo back in. I think he gives us a lot more balance in possession. You would think he'll probably change at least one of the wingers, and given how well Ramazani played, it'd probably be Ramazani. Yeah. Solomon's been playing well. I don't want to break up that James Bogle partnership, really, if I can help it. Because it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think I'd stick with Dan James on the right, and again, I would say it's probably a bit of a coin toss as to whether it's Peru or Joseph, because neither one of them did a massive amount in the last game.
I think for it, I think I would go for Joseph on this one. I think any ball played up to Peru up against Duffy, especially, I think Peru might find that a bit more difficult to get away. Whereas Joseph, I think, will battle with him better. And I think it's the sort of thing where Peru then come with 20 minutes left when Duffy and Doyle are a bit tired, especially Duffy. I think that will suit Peru.
Yeah.
So I would go for Joseph, but I think it'll probably be Peru. Do you reckon there's any chance that it's Tanaka and Gruev?
I suppose if we're going again at the weekend, then there is every chance.
The next game afterwards is Monday night, isn't it? Because it's on the 27th, it's Burnley away.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting one because I suppose it gives you enough of a gap in terms of recovery. I could see him dropping Rothwell for it. Like you said before, I don't think you saw a massive change between having Rothwell or Gruev on the pitch on Sunday. Whether he's going to drop him into a game with 20 minutes football under his belt after 3 months out, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them, and I think that their front four's pretty decent, so I wouldn't mind having Gruev in there, just that slightly more defensive-minded midfielder. Obviously, what I'd actually like is Ampadu there, but with Strauch injured, that's not happening. So yeah, I think I'll say Meslier, Bogle, Rudd, and Ampadu, Byram. I hope it's Firpo, but I think it'll be Byram. I'm going to say Tanaka and Gruev, Ramazani left, Aronson, James, and I'm going to say Joseph up top.
I think I'm going to say same back five. I'm going to stick with Rothwell and Tanaka, and I think it's Peru up front instead of Joseph.
All right. Cool.
Or for the ultimate fuck you to Norwich, do we get Buendia in to make his debut at Carrow Road?
At Carrow Road? Well, you're going to have a real problem because you're going to the game because it's at home. I mean, if I message you before we kick off asking where you are,
I've heard it's very tough to get there with all the pedestrianised areas around Norwich, but yeah.
For what it's
worth, you know, if it's not a Carrow Road bollocks, I'm not bothered about Buendia. Then send him back.
Save him for Burnley.
No, just send him back. I don't want him anymore.
I did eventually hear back from Connie, luckily, before the Sheffield Wednesday game. He went for a 2-0 win. So we all had wins, but Alex had 3-0. So he catches right up. You had 2-0, so that 96th minute goal did your prediction in.
I'd be so much more frustrated if I'd remembered that.
Yep. But yeah, as always, because we've done this during work hours. Connie's still working, so I haven't heard back yet. We'll just check on my phone and check that's still true. Yes, it is. But Alex has got 2-1, Benny 3-1, and I'm gonna have 2-0 Leeds.
I'm gonna say 1-0 Leeds.
Well, that's abysmal typing there from me. I've hit like 2 buttons and made a mic tours of it. But yeah, I mean, another win would be obviously outstanding. We'll see it's too early to look at the other results, but if the other teams dropped points, it just makes the win even more necessary. Because if you can open up a gap, it can really... Leeds will need that little bit of breathing room because we know what we like for just doing things that we shouldn't do.
Yeah. I can see it's been a close game, to be honest. Like, again, because I think Norwich will have a bit of a go. Because I think with their sort of front three, front four that you can choose from, I think it's totally wasted, to be honest, for them to sit back.
Yeah, I haven't watched enough of them to really know, but looking at that squad, it looks pretty good going forward, but I don't rate it particularly highly defensively. So, yeah, I would think that they would be better, at least having somewhat of a go. Because if they sit back, I don't think they've got enough to just hold us out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, that will do us for episode 299 of the Mike White's podcast. We will be if the game's Monday, it'll still probably be Thursday or Friday. I've just realised, actually, this was a really stupid time to do a podcast because I think Daniel Farke's press conference started like 3 minutes.
It's literally doing it right now.
It's literally just... In fact, I am... Before I do the sign-off, I am just going to look at Twitter. Because... there could be that like someone is injured or something like that. God damn it, Graham Smith. Why aren't you live tweeting? Do your job, man. Joe Donahue. Brendan Aronson should be okay. Mano Solomon a doubt for Wednesday night. Well, we both picked Ramazani anyway, so I don't think that changes anything.
Good start.
I mean, I don't want Mano Solomon to be a doubt, but that doesn't change things too massively. So, yeah, now that will do us for episode 299. I've been Jack. See ya.
I've been Casey.